Ali Cook, welcome to Calm Radio.
Kia ora. Lovely to be here.
For our listeners out there, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm from New Zealand, Aotearoa, and I travel over here quite regularly, playing country music, blues music, and yeah, that's it. I'm a musician. I work as a publicist and a promoter as well, working with lots of other independent artists around the place. So, yep, I'm busy.
And tell us about your new release, and it has been crowdfunded.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so crowdfunding was actually something that I started with my first album, and it was back then crowdfunding was brand new. In fact, I think I was about the fourth person in New Zealand to crowdfund an album, so it was back in the early days, about 2006, 2007, when I did that, and I crowdfunded $20,000 US from 250 people from 20 different countries, and made my first album, and then I did it again on my second album, and I've done it also on this third album. So across videos and albums and various crowdfunding projects, I've probably crowdfunded around 100,000 in total, as an artist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's an awesome thing to do. And I mean,
Yeah.
how do you feel, getting these kind of, this help from your fans and people out there?
That's the beautiful thing. It's an interesting thing, basically they become part of your whānau, they become part of your family. They are more than just a person that Advance buys your CD. They're a person who believes in you, and so they're like a super fan, I guess. My crowdfunders are like super fans. So there's some of my crowdfunders have been across all three albums. Some just come in and buy a CD. So this particular crowdfunding campaign I've done is more like a great big long pre-sale. So I've started pre-saling the album before I've started recording it, and I've pre-saling it right up until September when I release it. So, it's great. I couldn't do it without the people that actually Advance buy my product. So it wouldn't be possible.
Because, like you said, they really do become your family and really, really help you get out there and actually do what you love.
Absolutely. And the thing is that it's quite hard for artists. Not all artists find it easy. It's the art of asking. And I think when, right back many years ago, centuries ago, musicians were always revered, and the community looked after musicians, and musicians provided the entertainment. And then you went beyond that, and the industry turned it into celebrity, where one person sat at a distance from many people. And now crowdfunding and social media brings it back to where it was. It brings it back to a community thing where you don't need a big crowd. You just need a small group of people who like the music that you do. And when it's direct to you to them, they can advance by your music. You can create music, and you're gifting them back the music. So it's a very symbiotic relationship that goes between the crowdfunders and the artist, and that's the new way forward, I think.
And like you said, with the help of social media, it has been able to really get off the ground and help a lot of people around the world. Do you think if it wasn't for social media, it would have got as far as it has?
Oh, absolutely. I think now is the most exciting time to be an independent artist because now we have that power to go direct your fan to you, the person who listens to your music, and you can talk to them. And I think that's a really powerful tool and a really exciting time. It's a really good time. Some people say, the music industry is no good. I think for the individual artist, I think it's great,
Yeah, and you can really cut out the whole, middleman, so to speak,
absolutely.
with publishing and all that kind of stuff. You can go straight to your fans.
Yep, absolutely. And that's, I think working as a team is good. This time I've crowdfunded, but I've got a team. I've got a couple of producers. I've got a lovely videographer here in Alice Springs who's filmed me in the studio creating the music, and now, of course, here making music videos for the new album. Yeah. So having a team around you is good too. But as far as cutting the middleman out. I don't consider my team as my middleman, but yeah, it's kind of you get the funds and then you decide the team that you put around you to create that music and to create the videos and the visuals around that.
And I mean, like you can, even other platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, you're able to get your content out there and that kind of stuff. And even, live streaming concerts and that kind of stuff as well has been pretty amazing. Like for myself, we launched an album.
Yes.
And, that was awesome to be able to have that on Facebook and live and radio as well. And yeah,
Absolutely.
it's exciting.
It is. It's exciting because you can get there directly and you can get that direct feedback too, like straight away as you're doing things. It's a very instantaneous world these days, and I think that's what's been interesting. As a mature artist, I've been here since the 1980s doing this, so I've gone right through the changes, so I'm able to apply a certain amount of bricks and mortar as things were with the new technologies, and I think that's just it. It's keeping up with the new technologies and combining it with what you know.
And do you think as well, it's giving artists, independent artists like yourself, that chance to really get yourself out there to an audience that may not know or may not hear of you.
Yeah.
Like unlike other people that have like huge labels backing them, like Sony or other things like that.
Yeah, no, there's still ways to get out. So, like, this is something that I do a lot of going and speaking in universities in New Zealand, tertiary institutions, and teaching people about ways to market. Something that I've been doing recently is cross-marketing, looking for the ways that I can work with another small company that likes my music or supports me. For example, I've got an Australian underarm deodorant maker at the moment that's been a customer of mine, and they've just put money into my album, and now I've brought their little tins of no pong out into the desert and gone, hey, it's keeping me cool while I'm working,
Awesome.
making my music video. So they've put into my music project. I'm telling other people about their product. So I'm looking at ways, and there's all sorts of things that you might not even think about as an artist that is a product that you might use that you can do a cross market with, or working together as artists, like running a showcase together where there's 3 or 4 of you, and then you push that out on your social media, and all of you are reaching all of your social media. So I sort of, with the artists that I work with Key 2 Artist Promotions, which is my business here working with indie artists, I encourage them to work together and say, you know what, we're not enemies of each other, we're all brothers and sisters here in the same direction. So if we work together, we pull our fans together, we get to more people. So it's about, give and ye shall receive. It's kind of, it works that way. So it's work with them, not against.
And like you said, that it's pretty amazing where you're able to help out even other entrepreneurs that are maybe even just starting out as well, like you said, with the cross promotional stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I look to do those things too, and they're helping you, and you're helping them, and that's it. It's a symbiotic thing, and I think as indie artists, the more of that we get going on, the more we reach another audience that didn't know us. So, and the more they reach an audience that didn't know about their thing. So it might not necessarily be just working with other musicians. It might be working with other arts people or painters or anybody or anything, really, as long as it fits with your ethos. So for me, I am a person who believes in natural products, so I wouldn't be able to do that with somebody that was encouraging me to put chemicals on my skin, because that wouldn't work for me personally. So I'm fine with personal, with natural products. So I've even got a page on my website that's called Shop, and it's just reviews of natural products. So my fans can go and see the skincare products that I'm using, that what herbal products that I'm using, and I'm working with those little businesses, and I've got a wee page where I go and do videos and talk about their stuff, because it's something I believe in.
Now, Ali, let's talk a bit about your album as well. Now, could you give us an idea of what it's about?
Okay, so there's 12 tracks on the album. Over the last 3 years since my first two albums, which were produced in New Zealand, I met Buzz Bidstrup. And I first went out into Mutijulu with Buzz to work because I'd worked in New Zealand with Māori children, working in the New Zealand Music Commission, going and teaching songwriting in schools and stuff. So he said, do you want to come out into Aboriginal communities, do some music, teach healthy eating? Went out to Mutijulu. It was a fantastic experience. It was a moving experience for me as a New Zealander. To go out there, and then when I connected with Buzz, we gradually started to write songs together, and then every time I came over to play festivals, I would go to Buzz and Kay's and we would write together. And then I had a co-write with Alan Caswell, who's another artist over here, quite a well-known country writer, so I did a co-write with him, and gradually we got enough for an album, and I was lucky enough to go to the studio with Buzz and have some pretty wonderful people play on there. This album, quite different because rather than it being built up on a computer the way I've normally done my albums, this was done with a live band, straight down, all looking at each other at the same time, laying the song down just like the old-fashioned days. So that's been different about this album and pretty fantastic.
Yeah, just having that band there and looking at each other.
Yeah,
that'd be
it's
amazing.
there's something to be said for the essence and the vibe and the spirit of the take, and so you put that song down and then you put it down again, and then everybody comes in and we all go, ooh, everybody will go, oh, that's take two, like let's go with take two. It was definitely the best, and you kind of like, then that's the song that you kind of build on, but the essence and the core of the song is all put down together, all with vibe and energy happening at the same time. So that's something I'm pretty stoked about with this album, is that new experience to do it that way.
What inspired you to, go with the songs and the music on the album?
Basically we wrote together, and there's sort of a trail of different songs and different meanings behind. The new album, the title track of the album, is a song that was about terrorism, and right in the middle of the album we had a dreadful terrorist attack in Christchurch. It was just, that happened right in the middle of everything we were doing, and so it was like caught in the middle. And then we had a guitarist that played on the album, passed away during the album as well, so we had a few things that made me feel like I was caught in the middle. So that was how the album came about. And I'm caught in the middle between country and blues as well, and folk. And, I'm a bit genreless like that. I just move where I feel like writing. Don't try to write in one particular genre. We just write the way the song comes through,
Tell us a bit about, coming over to Australia as a New Zealander, trying to, not break in, but sort of fit into the Australian style of country music.
Well, I love it. First of all, I've always had one foot either side of the Tasman, for starters. So I toured over here in the 1980s with bands like INXS and the Angels, etc.
Great name.
After Buzz was in the band, actually. But I worked for promoters, worked all around Australia. So I was... I've always sort of come back and forth. Though New Zealand is my home. And I've found the country music, I've really only kind of, I guess, broken into that in the last couple of albums, and I've found them really welcoming. Like, I have lots of really good friends in Australia. I've played 3 times at like Mildura Country Music Festival, where I'll just be with heaps of artists over the 10 days, and the same with Tamworth. I think I've done Tamworth about 7 times now. I've just on this trip come from Kununurra. That's my 3rd trip up to the Kimberley. I've got a particular kind of connection to that region. I wrote a song on the last album that was used by East Kimberley Tourism, that I wrote about being up there, because I was just, for anyone that's been up there, it's just the ancientness of this land. I live on a little Pacific island, and it's quite different and it's quite beautiful, but here is also so beautiful and so vast and so ancient, and I love that historical kind of that that history part, like back the hundreds of thousands of years, you know. That's in that Kimberley region. As soon as you land there, it just has this energy about it, I guess, and that inspired me to write that song.
I haven't been to the Kimberley yet, but
It's beautiful.
I'd love to go up there.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it up there.
And for those thinking of trying to do some crowdfunding, what kind of advice could you give them?
Well, basically, I have a sort of a motto I live by, and it's, persistence, focus, and enthusiasm. You got to have those three things and just start. You can't just pot up a crowdfunding thing and go, nobody's come here yet. You've got to tell people about it. You've actually got to get out. You've got to message people. You've got to post it on your page, post it out on your social media, say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm reaching out to you. I'm hoping that you'll advance buy my CD so that I can make some music. And you might be surprised just how far you get, and don't let isolation limit you. I live in a tiny town, Motueka, which is near Nelson at the top of the South Island of New Zealand, and I've managed to come over here and play festivals, release albums, and I still go home at the end of it all, So, yes, I am unusual, a Kiwi that actually goes home. Sorry, I thought I'd throw that in there. But, so, just go for it. Just go for it. And just, you have to work hard. You can't just pot it up and think it's going to happen. So, work it every day.
On that note, Ali Cook, thanks very much for joining me here on Calm Radio.
Thank you so much.